Alright guys, welcome back to this Monday video. We have some new leaks and some very cool ones. Finally, I was really ready for this. I was really hoping for this deck coming in the next pack. It is very strong and we are getting a good line of support for the deck, I have to say. A deck that a lot of you were waiting for, a fan favorite you could say, as it is also an anime deck, which actually is an anime deck that you can play that is quite good, and we will get a bunch of the cards in the next pack. So yeah, we're getting the Centurion stuff. We already know about this, but what are we also getting? Dkayed leaked it yesterday. We are getting, and I will show it to you right here, we are getting one of these top decks here. It would be either Temper Dragon or Yubel, because obviously we already have a Snake Eyes. It is Yubel. We are getting Yubel, and as you can see, I just quickly wanted to pull this up. At the current moment, Yubel is basically the best deck in the OCG, not by far obviously, but has the top one spot here. We can quickly take a look. You can see the Yubel cards here. These are the old Yubel cards, and then you have all the new stuff, which we will talk about in a second here. And yeah, it's the top tier in the OCG. Obviously, it's currently played with the Fiendsmith package, as well as, for example, the Snake Eye deck also played with the Fiendsmith package, which, spoiler alert, we won't get the Fiendsmith package, but it's not that bad, because even without the package, we will be able to play it at a very strong level, because a specific other card we will also get that wasn't really to be expected this early, but we will get it. But let's talk about the cards. So obviously we have the old Yubel, and the cool thing is that the old cards that you will need for this deck are very low rarity. For example, the Yubel is a normal, or whatever you call this rarity. Let me know in the comments. By the way, if you like my videos, please consider subscribing, hitting the thumbs up and the notification bell. This would help me out a lot, guys. And yeah, we have the old Yubel here, which is a normal card, and with Yubel it's all about this reflecting damage stuff, right? You don't take damage from battling with Yubel, and then you reflect the damage to your opponent, which means you can pretty easily kill your opponent. And there are also a lot of scenarios in which your opponent gets killed by attacking into your Yubel monsters, because he will need to attack your Yubel monsters if there is a specific card up on the field. This cost me a very important game in a regional tournament where I was not understanding Yubel at that time. We have the other Yubel Terra Incarnate, which you can basically rank up to get this one on the field, which basically has the same effect. You take no battle damage from this card, this card gonna be destroyed by battle, but you will mostly only use these here as bodies to go into other stuff. We will also use the Unchained cards here, because obviously they are fiends, so that goes together. And then you also have the Yubel, the Ultimate Nightmare, which you will also be able to summon if you want to, but there are some lists playing it, there are other lists not playing it. You can see right here, we are not playing the Ultimate Nightmare, but only the two stages here, basically, because you will be able to summon the Yubel and then also summon the Yubel Terra Incarnate, getting you 3 bodies, which means this you will normally not summon. But if you want to, you can definitely go ahead. This is also only a rare, which is quite nice. But now let's come to the interesting cards, right? So the first card we have, which is really nice, is Yubel, the Loving Defender Forever, which is a fusion card that can be made with 1 Yubel monster plus 1 plus effect monsters on the field, and then if this card is fusion summoned, you can inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each material used. Cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Also, you take no battle damage from this card, and at the end of the damage step, if this card battle an opponent's monster, inflict damage to your opponent equal to that opponent's monster's attack. And if you do banish that monster, which is also quite nice, giving you the ability, for example, to banish a Flamberge Dragon or something that would normally hit the graveyard and make a lot of trouble. But obviously the cool thing about this card is, and I will show you in the end how you can fuse this guy, that you can make it with 1 Yubel monster and then basically your entire opponent's field if you want to, right? Because it says +1 effect monster on the field. So if you have a Yubel monster, you could in theory go ahead and fuse with 5 of your opponent's field monsters if they are effect monsters, which normally all of them are. So very strong in clearing the field, and then also giving you a very strong body. You will play this, but this is not even the best Yubel extra deck monster that we will play, that we will get. Little spoiler alert, I guess, but we will talk about this card in a moment here, but very strong, and we will be able to basically fuse away our entire opponent's board with a specific trap card that we will talk about in a moment. Then we have the Spirit of Yubel, which is basically the new Little Yubel card, if you want to call them the Little Yubel cards, and this one the Fusion Yubel card. The Spirit of Yubel says, if this card is destroyed, you can special summon one of your Yubel that is banished or in your hand, deck, or graveyard. So very nice, you can destroy this to gain more advantage, and then when an opponent monster declares an attack, you can special summon this card from your hand. Also very nice, because this one cannot be destroyed by battle, and you take no battle damage from in battles involving this card. And we will have another card that enables the Yubel cards to basically reflect the battle damage. And then Then if this card is special summoned, you can add to your hand or set one spell trap from your deck that mentions Yubel. So very, very nice. This on the field is basically our main searcher, which gets us into a very important card, which is, where do I have it? Oh, we will talk about this in a moment, I guess. The Gruesome Grave Squirmer is another card that is coming, a card that is from the second support wave and is a very good extender if you control a field monster. So obviously this also works with the Unchained stuff. Quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. Then you can destroy one monster you control that is Yubel or mentions it. Obviously, if you destroy your own Yubel monsters, if for example you would destroy Spirit of Yubel, you could then summon another Yubel, which could be this Yubel or that Yubel. And the Gruesome Grave Squirmer is then a good Fiend extender on your field. This is normally used, you will search this with your continuous spell that we will talk about in a moment, and then you can use this and another monster on the field, normally the Spirit of Yubel, to go into your Unchained Soul Lord of Yama. So in the Unchained cards, we'll find another home here because you need 2 field monsters to go into this. Then we also have this package with the Shavara, and you will make a Soul of Rage to go into an SP Little Knight, which is always a very strong play, and then obviously having one of these traps in your deck. And I think you can also see this right here, the Unchained package. Is it in here or was it? There it is. The Unchained package here with the trap and the red dog together with the Monster Negate here and the Yama and Soul of Rage going into the SP Little Knight, obviously. So Gruesome Grave Squirmer really nice, and you can also banish this card from your graveyard. The special summon one field monster with 0 attack on defense from your hand or grave, except a Gruesome Grave Squirmer, which we will talk over the card that is basically the core card of the deck right now, the 0/0 attack defense monster Samsara the Lotus. You can tribute this card, a special summon one Yubel monster from your deck. This will always get you into your Spirit of Yubel, which is the starting line. Basically, you go Samsara the Lotus into your Spirit of Yubel, into the spell card that we will talk about in a moment here. And then during your opponent's turn, when a monster effect is activated while you control the Yubel monster, not that hard to achieve, you can tribute this card, and then the activated effect becomes destroy one Yubel monster on the field, which obviously once again triggers stuff on your side of the field. Is basically a monster effect negate. And then during your end phase, if you control Yubel and this card is in your graveyard, you can add this card to your hand or special summon it. So you can use this for the effect to summon out a Yubel monster, and then if you end up with Yubel on your field, you can also summon this to the field to have this monster negate live. What you normally want to search with your Spirit of Yubel, this card here, is your Nightmare Pain. You can set it onto your field, continuous spell card. During your main phase, you can destroy one dark monster in your hand or one face-up field, and if you do add one Yubel or one card that mentions it from your deck to your hand, so this adds something, you will normally destroy your Spirit of Yubel, which then can summon another Yubel, and together with your new field spell that we will also get, by the way, the Nightmare Throne, quickly showing it here. The Nightmare Throne, you will also be able to summon more Yubel monsters. Nightmare Throne is really cool because this card says when this card is activated, you can take one fiend monster with 0 attack defense from your deck and either add it to your hand or destroy it. So you can add your Samsara the Lotus, very, very nice. And then once per turn, if a face-up Yubel monster you control leaves the field by a card effect, for example, you destroying it yourself, you can add to your hand one Yubel monster from your deck, a graveyard or banishment, whose original level is 1 higher or lower than one of those monsters, and you can special summon it, ignoring its summoning conditions. So this is where you can summon your old Yubel, and then with the Nightmare Throne, you can, if you destroy your old Yubel, summon the Yubel Terror Incarnate, because this is only 1 level higher up. So this is how you can access this guy that you will normally not be able to summon, right? But yeah, the Gruesome Grave Squirmer and the Samsara the Lotus. So Samsara the Lotus being like the entry point for all of your combos. By the way, another 0 attack, 0 defense monster making its way to this deck will be the Dark Beckoning Beast, which is something that is normally a god card here. We will also play the Dark Beckoning Beast because this is also 0/0. It's also a fiend, so works well with all of the other cards. And the Nightmare Pain, by the way, also says your opponent takes any battle damage you would have taken from battles involving your Yubel monsters, and while you control the Yubel monster, your opponent's monster that can attack must attack Yubel monsters. So the funny thing is that if you have this up and a Yubel monster, your opponent has to go into the battle phase and has to attack your Yubel and will take the damage. So this is a card that killed me a lot of times when I wasn't really understanding how Yubel works. But obviously, this is not the coolest gimmick, because if people understand how this works, then it's not that great anymore. But this is a bit like a barrier from Voice is Voice, if you know the deck, giving your opponent a bit of a headache in terms of when to go into the battle phase or what to do when. This is mainly used to use the first effect to search. Then we have another card, we talked about this already, the Nightmare Throne. Not really a Yubel card, a Yubel support card, but basically meant as Yubel support card, as you can also see Yubel chilling on this Nightmare Throne here. Then we have the trap card, Eternal Favorite, which I think not all decks are playing. As you can see right here, it's not even played here. And you can see the Spirit of Yubel, no, not the Spirit of Yubel, the Yubel Loving Defender Forever isn't even in this deck list here. There's another Yubel card that we will talk about in a moment. Isn't even in this deck list here. We will definitely play these two, I guess, because we don't have all the Fiendsmith stuff right now. This might replace this then in the future. But the Eternal Favorite says once per turn you can activate one of these effects, special summon one of your Yubel monsters that is banished on your graveyard, nice, or we can, if you control Yubel, discard one card and send this face-up card to the graveyard, fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from either field as material, including Yubel monster. So this is the card that can be used on our opponent's turn to make Yubel the Loving Defender Forever, but we could obviously also just use a Super Polymerization. This is basically like a Super Polymerization, needing you to discard one card and then also basically wastes itself as the card because it needs to get to the graveyard, needs to be sent to the graveyard. And then the last very interesting thing is the question, do we get these really new this is just out in the TCG, Phantom of Yubel, very, very strong. This is what made the deck really, really powerful in the end, that pushed it over the edge. It was powerful before, but then it really was powerful. Phantom of Yubel, we can quickly read this card. It needs one Yubel monster plus one Fiend monster with 0 attack defense. We have this, obviously, must be special summoned from your extra deck by shuffling the above cards from your hand, field, and or graveyard into the extra deck. So if you ever have some Sawadee Lotus in the grave, or a Gruesome Grave Squirmer, or the Beckoning Beast, you can just fuse or contact summon this by using stuff from your graveyard, right? So you can also use the Yubel from your graveyard, so you can basically fill up your graveyard and then summon this guy, and you can also summon more than one of this guy, which is really crazy. You can use resources out of your graveyard. This is basically like if you would use a Branded Fusion to use resources out of your deck, but you don't even need a Branded Fusion. You don't even need the card Branded Fusion. You can just go Contact Fusion. If these cards are in your graveyard, then you can make this guy here. Cannot be used as fusion material, cannot be destroyed by battle. Also, you take no damage from battles involving this card. When your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can tribute this card. The activated effect of the monster effect, for example, in Libido, becomes then your opponent destroys one Yubel monster in their hand, deck, or field. So this is a monster negate, turning basically like the Samsara de Lotus, turning this into a destroy a Yubel monster on the hand, deck, or field, which obviously triggers again cards. If you have the Nightmare Throne up, if you have your Yubel up, then this obviously triggers cards and you will get more advantage. But this is a free monster negate that you can make as often as you want, just with these monsters here that you will have in your graveyard, and you can have multiple of them. And obviously, if you have your Nightmare Pain up and you go into the battle phase, then your opponent will take all the damage. You could, in theory, make 3 of these and then just battle for, I don't know, 9,000 damage into an opponent's Snake Eyes Farm Bird Strength, for example. So a rare, really insane card here, Phantom of Yubel, very expensive in the TCG, just came out 60 euros, insane, but enormously strong and definitely pushing this deck over the edge. One card that we are not quite sure if we are getting this, and this would be quite important, honestly, is Varudras, the Final Bringer of the Entrimes. Not a Yubel card, but definitely great Yubel support. This needs 2 level 10 monsters. When your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can detach one material from this card, negate the activation, then you can also detach another material from this card, and then you can destroy one card on the field. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles while it has material, you can destroy one card on the field. If this XYZ summon card is destroyed, you can destroy one card on the field. So this is basically an Omni negate like a Baron de Fleur, also at 3000, but has even more effects than has a Baron, minus the effect of Baron to tech out, I guess. And this is made with 2 level 10 monsters, which obviously your Spirit of Yubel is a level 10, and then your normal Yubel is also a level 10. So you can quite easily make this on your first turn board, and this is a very, very strong interruption. We are not quite sure if we will get this, but this would help out the deck a lot, would definitely make it stronger, because otherwise you are kind of ending on this Unchained board with interruptions like your Eternal Favorite, for example. So we definitely want the Varudras, but I'm not quite sure if we get it. This is normally not a card that would come to us next. This is in a pack further down the line, but let's see. They might give this to us also. We have to see. But guys, let me know in the comments what you think. Are you hyped? Are you hyped that we basically get Yubel at full power minus the Varudras, which I think is definitely an important piece. But otherwise, this deck is at full power. We have everything minus the Fiendsmith engine, but also Snake Eyes obviously at the moment does not have the Fiendsmith engine, so it doesn't really count. This also works well without the Fiendsmith engine, so don't you worry. But yeah, what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for being here, and we will see each other in the next one.